Hello, hello, welcome back to another episode of Railroads Online. Yeah, one I haven't looked at in a while. I wouldn't say gotten to, I could have, but I didn't see much reason to. Uh, One moment. Oh, goodness. As the winter settles in, I am very much allergic. But anywho, uh, so the latest and greatest of Railroads Online has come out yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to really look at it yesterday because I was definitely not paying attention to it dropping. It's one of those things where I was like, take note, and then I didn't take note, and yeah, so the day went. But yay, hey, hooray! The game Railroads Online has finally come out of early access. Um, this is one of two times I have ever gone out of my way to get a game in early access. Um, Actually three. I finally broke down and did another one while the Steam sale was going on. But typically, I despise early access. I think the entire idea of it is an absolute sham. Um, you have beta testers for a reason. You pay beta testers for a reason. I should not be paying for the game to be a beta tester. Uh, that's just my opinion. Such is life. Such is the way it goes. I'm that way because there have been many games I have watched that have been, quote, early access with glorified beta testers for years on end, and then the game get dropped and it never actually get completed because, you know. And what's sad is Railroads Online is actually a bit of a victim of that exact same issue. Railroads Online started as a completely different game with the exact same idea, and the creator just decided to drop it, and it's still in early access. It'll never come out of early access, which is wild to me. But ranting about early access over. To be perfectly honest, I thought Railroads Online would be stuck in early access. Early on, the game had a lot of potential. I thought it looked really, really cool. I thought it had a lot going for it. It was a really neat concept. Um, it's not really a train simulator per se. I know a lot of people look at it like that, and then they're disappointed when they find out it's most definitely not. It's definitely not a train simulator per se. It's more of a train operations game that you can play multiplayer, uh, which in and of itself is just kind of wild. Train games typically don't get multiplayer. I know Trains has a multiplayer option, but I've never used it. I have no idea how it works, and I do not know a single person that uses it, so that ought to speak for itself. Uh, but yeah, trains and multiplayer are two things that rarely ever go hand in hand. And yet here we are with Railroads Online, which is exactly the idea and point to it. Uh, that being said, it had a really rocky start. Um, they went through multiple dev teams. When I say dev teams, as in one dude tried to work on this, the creator, for the longest while, and that was a stupid decision. I'll say it. Nobody else will say it. I really don't care. What's he gonna do? Cancel me? But one dude tried to carry this whole project on his own shoulders, just like he tried to do with the original game, and it was a poor decision. Uh, but that being said, when the game released, there was a few people that were working with him on it, and a lot of drama unfolded. Those people left. Other people came in. Drama went. Those people left. I mean, it's game could not keep people. And it really kind of fell off the face of the planet for a hot second. And Astragon Gaming picked it up. And honestly, they have done a really good job keeping up with this game. Overall. It's definitely still got some issues that I've noticed as I played with it yesterday. But I do think it's worthy of coming out of early access, because I don't think there's any wildly game-breaking bugs anymore. That being said, I haven't played this in multiplayer in 2+ years. The multiplayer side of life just really left a foul taste in my mouth. It did not take long for RO to end up with a bunch of freaking trolls. If you left your server open, chances are somebody was going to drop in and destroy everything and delete everything because they could. But if you didn't leave your server open, the actual group of people willing to play is tiny pool to choose from. So I have maybe one friend left that still plays Railroads Online. So it's a game that I really thought it was just going to die. To make a long story short, I really thought the game was just going to straight up die. And, to be honest, I was wrong. I'll admit it. I thought it would die, and it definitely didn't. So it's out of early access. And with it coming out of early access, we got a pretty decent sized update as well, which I do have the update page pulled up. You'll notice 2 of those updates right here in front of us. I know that's kind of the meat and potatoes for most of the people that are probably sitting here watching this. This is really all anybody ever cares about, is the locomotives. Go figure, it's kind of like model railroading. Nobody cares about the rest of it. They just want to see the train. But for those of us that actually play a game, that are looking at it as a game, there's a lot of stuff that went on with this update. So we'll go over it. We'll look at the locomotives. We're on a new map. We'll check out the new map. Now, I'll go ahead and put this disclaimer in. There are 2 DLCs that were also pushed out with this update, one of which was free to those of us that have owned the game. I will go over those in a separate video, because I don't want to have this video be too terribly long trying to go through both DLCs as well. Even though both packs are not necessarily huge, I just think it'll make life a little bit easier for me to separate them. So that's what we're going to do. So if you're waiting on this video to see the DLC content, you'll be waiting a little bit longer, because that's not coming just yet. But it will. Don't worry. I just noticed that. That irks me. Anywho. So, open up our tab here, and wow, the game increased in price. Did not know that. That's news to me. Or maybe it wasn't news, I just haven't played it in so long I forgot. I don't know. So yeah, we're going to pull up our Steam page here so we can read off what is new, what is news, what is worth knowing, what is not worth knowing. I would have gotten to this yesterday. Yeah, that didn't happen. So, over the next couple of days, we'll go over everything. I'll be gone for the weekend, so I'm going to pre-record a couple of the videos and call it cool. So yay, hey, game is full release on PC and console release. So for you console people, here's a worthy-ish train game. I would definitely say this is better than Train Simulator World by a good few steps. all the things they've accomplished in the last few years. So anyway, new map. We got a new map, Mesa Plains, which is kind of different. It's a different choice. I kind of get the idea of what they were aiming for, but it's still kind of different. So we got Mesa Plains, which includes, it's an oceanside map, so it's got a nice bit of ocean, and it's got the big, tall piles of dirt. It's not a green map by any means. There's not a lot of green anywhere on here. So, as somebody that spent far too long in the desert, I'm not a desert guy, but I'll try to look at it from an objective standpoint. So yeah, it's an oceanside map that is mostly desert. It's very flat-ish in the sense that track-wise, it looks like this would be a really easy map for people to start with when it comes to laying track and figuring out where to go, what to do. Now, I'm on the pre-laid map because I have yet to ever complete laying track anywhere on this game. It's not my cup of tea, really. I'm really bad about planning things out ahead of time. So, new map. Achievements have been added to the game for those of you that are into that thing. It's not something I've really paid attention to. I really could care less about achievements. They're just not something that I go, oh goodness gracious me, I needed that. But is something that was added in this update. So for those of you achievement chasers, there are 32 of them. Good luck. Have at it. New locomotive. We got two Uintah Railway locomotives, an 062 saddle tank. Really neat in itself. To be perfectly honest, I would say this is the neater of the two, largely because I like the unique stuff. I like the kind of oddballs. That's my kind of fancy to tickle, so I think this is the coolest part of the update. The 062 wheel arrangement is really, really odd in the United States. It's not something you would see often, especially in this form, in the narrow gauge. So it's really cool, kind of different, kind of neat. It is a coal burner, so it does come a little bit later. I believe it's something like tier 4. With a set price of $5,100 with some fun options that we'll look at later. And the one everybody has probably been waiting on, the Uintah Railway 2662T articulated locomotive. It is now the largest locomotive in the game. Weirdly enough, it's the fastest locomotive in the game, too. The top speed of 30 mile an hour, which is kind of odd in my opinion. You would think it'd be something with larger drivers, like the 440s and the 460s, but, what would I know? It's just one of those parts of the game that doesn't really make sense simulation-wise. It's, like I said, it's really not a simulator per se, but whatever. People have begged for articulated locomotives since the day the game came out. I'm not that big into it. It's just kind of one of those things where it's a bandwagon. Why jump on it? I won't say it's not cool. It's definitely cool. It's really neat. I imagine it's probably going to end up being one of, if not the largest locomotive in the game for a long time being. So, enjoy it. It is definitely neat. We'll play around with it. Of course, the DLC part. Again, that's going to be a separate video for the DLCs. Just because make my life a little bit easier. Important info for all console players. I'm not a console player, so that doesn't really do me any difference. There are some differences to the PC version for those of you that are on console. Surprise, surprise. There's nothing particularly unusual about that. It's pretty rare that a game is directly identical from PC to console and back. It's usually a pretty noticeable difference, so such is life. Patch notes. So we got our patches. Got new map, Mesa Plains pre-laid maps. Added a hidden 062 STE. Oh, didn't know that. Maybe I should read this a little better. Oh well, it's probably in one of the tunnels. Added the achievements. Again, added the 060 or the 062. Added Uintah articulated. Added the ability for the Cook 260 to remove snow with its plow. See, this makes sense. I wondered this for the longest while. It is wild that it took this long since the snow update for the Cook 260 to get that update, because that's literally the entire point to the design of the snowplow, is to remove snow. And the wood burning 260 has a built-in snowplow, but it didn't remove snow. It's a stupid thing to know, to like get tickled over, but it's one of those things. You guys know me. I catch dumb stuff like that. And that is one of those weird things that I pointed it out when they added snow, and they finally fixed such an issue. So that's nice. Added the ability to see tender fuel count for wood and coal. That's wonderful. Instead of just eyeballing it and going, I need this much, maybe. So that's a handy thing. Added a light source to the lantern prop. Interesting. Adjusted snow on tracks to be deeper. Cool, I guess. It's not going to make much of a difference out here in the desert, but might be something to notice in a snow map. Added the ability to buy multiple cars at a time. See, that's something that I love. Honestly, I have wondered why this isn't something that we had around a long time ago. Because if you're buying like log cars, you probably want more than one. Or if you're buying like the little 2-axle plantation cars, you definitely want more than one. You probably want all 10 of them all in one go. So that's an awesome thing. I have played with that a little bit now. It's absolutely perfect. Definitely needed that. Bug fixes. Look at this nice long list of bug fixes. I'm not going to sit here and read all of these because, to be perfectly honest, I couldn't tell you how many of these were an issue and how many of them weren't, considering I don't play it as often as I used to. Such is life. So if you've experienced any of these bugs have been fixed, supposedly. The bugs I noticed are not in here. Like yesterday, I had a horrible issue with the pre-laid map with the trains just jumping through switches, so that I would have to relay the switch, and then it worked just fine. I don't understand why, but... And that is all the bells, buttons, and whistles with the big update, version 1.0. So let's get rid of that. And now it's going to be foggy. So let's turn off the fog for now. Gameplay, dynamic, turn it off. Clear skies. Clear skies at 11 in the morning. Turn off the day cycle. And wham bam. That way we can see what we're looking at. So let's go over the locomotives first. Get the part that everybody and their mother wants to see out of the way first. Articulated. That's a big locomotive. It's a wild looking locomotive. It's cool. It's different. It's kind of out of the ordinary for the desert, but you know, it's definitely neat. I'll give it credit where it's due. It is one of only like 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure there's only 2. There's only like 2 locomotives that have Walschaerts valve gear on it. With the other one being the Mason Bogie. So that's kind of cool in and of itself. It's a bit odd that they've gone this long without doing Walschaerts valve gear, but I guess jump off into the deep end with 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of it. Oh well. So this is pretty darn cool. Detail wise, it looks pretty nice. It's got some underbelly detail. There's sand hatch. So yeah, it's a big old locomotive, but it is pretty darn neat. Let's hop in it. Now, fair warning. With such a locomotive, you may or may not fit in the turntable. Turn on the generator. Got our headlights. I love that Railroads Online can manage to get headlights to look more believable than Train Sim Classic can. It's kind of wild. Now, unfortunately, the reverser doesn't change anything on... Whoops. Like, the reverser doesn't do anything for the valve gear. It moves here, and that's it. So, that's unfortunate. Not particularly surprised, though, because all these years they haven't done the same to the Mason Bogie that's been out for forever. So, oh well, I guess. With it not being really a train simulator, though, I can't be heartbroken, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of expected. So, oh, yeah. There we go. So, let's see, whistle. I'm pretty sure that's a whistle sound we've already got, so yay, I guess. Nothing particularly fancy there. Got that articulated swing there. The wiring for the headlight here is interesting. it did get chuff sounds for the articulated, which is kind of neat. They're alright. They're not my favorite. Sounds like whoever recorded it from a mile away. So yeah, model pretty darn neat. Sounds, lackluster. So there's the articulated. Let's oogie boogie back here. Fly, because we go faster for some reason while we're flying. Yoink. Let's pick you up and move you. Switch the tracks so we go around. My favorite of the locomotives that has been included. Whistle. It's alright. Pretty sure that's a newer whistle sound. Another single chime. Fuel the brakes. Chuff sounds start off new, and then the high-speed chuffs are the same. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe the chuff sounds are a little different. I love it. I get a kick out of it. I think it's a cool little locomotive. It's definitely different. So sounds are alright on it. Again, they're not goodness me fancy graceful, but we got our sand hatch here. Oil headlamps. I mean, overall, it's a really neat looking locomotive. It's kind of cool that it's meant for forward and reverse operations. So it does have a rear facing plow here, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So the locomotive should perform pretty nicely going either direction. Be good for those of you that don't want to turn the locomotive around anywhere. So yeah, that's kind of fun. Overall, pretty decent. So the locomotives are pretty nice. We'll hop over here into the shed so that we can take a look at the things that we can change on them. Customize. Number, name, smokestack. So you either get a crown stack or you get shotgun stacks of different heights. And paint. All black. Have a greenish white stripe. The greenish without the white stripe. Black with the red stripe. And the black. So you get 4 paint jobs. And then here's the quantity number. That's pretty neat. It is entertaining that I can't just click on the escape there to escape. We got the articulated here. Customize. Number. Name. Smokestack. Spark arrestor. Short short spark arrestor, crowned cabbage patch. Headlights. Headlights are kind of neat. This thing gets a bunch of headlight options. What's cool with these last two is these are oil headlights, and so it'll take the generator off. Or no, I lied. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, your headlights, black with white stripes, green with white stripes. So pretty much the same color as the other one, and then the quantity number. So there's the locomotives. Now let's take a look at the map. Let's get up here into kind of space. And as you can see, it's very much a desert map. There's not a lot of color. Sand everywhere. Pretty sure this is how we make a Star Wars protagonist. On the upside, it means that your route is relatively flat. This is interesting. I wonder what's going on over here. Oh, it's unloader. Or unloading track. Unloader, yeah. So far, the pre-laid map has been pretty decent. Some greenery at the top of the mountains here. And the ocean. What's cool about the ocean is the ocean brings on a new industry-ish. It's specific to this route, however. It's got a couple of piers, which are freight houses. And you can use them. Which is, on the one hand, kind of cool. On the other hand, I can't fly out here. It blocks me from flying out here, so I have to walk. And now I can fly. It's kind of entertaining how long these sidings are when you can only function like right here next to it. Now I do hear tell that it's a bit of a pain to lay tracks on these piers. That being said, it's still pretty cool. It's kind of different. Something that I always liked playing with in trains. I always enjoyed the pier industry. Just because it can make for some fun scenes. Starting with our boat. So now we have a functioning boat too. This boat out here actually does run around. It does come into port over there. Let's see if it'll let us go out there towards it. Probably not. I didn't think so. So unfortunately, the boat is not close to us, so it'll be a minute before it pulls into port there. But it is pretty neat. That smoke effect from here looks really cool. It's just a paddle wheel steamboat, but pretty neat, pretty cool. I think it's neat anyway. Somebody else might not. Good for them, I guess. Let us continue. Kitty cat, you've jumped up here, and then you sat back down, and then you got down, and then you jumped up. It's kind of a pain. I believe most of the industries are present. Most of the available industries are present on this map, so that's nice. Small roundhouse over there. Hit one of those tunnels. Now, this is going to make a lot of people sad. The tunnels are pre-placed. They are not objects that you can play with. They're not objects that you can move around. Obviously, you can run the track through them. And you can go through them. They're actually like hit point walls. You can't move out of them either. So you're stuck in them. But you still can't place your own tunnels. You're stuck with these. That'll make some people sad. I've never been terribly heartbroken over the lack of tunnels. I mean, on a route like this, they're not wildly needed. I mean, like I said, a lot of the route's fairly flat and open where you need it to be, so the tunnels are just kind of a gimmick on this route. I mean, like right here. Why blow through it when you can just go around it? See? Matter of fact, we have track right here. Yoink, connect, done. But, you know, it's cool enough for what it is. It's one of those things where, you know, is it terribly needed? But is it neat enough to look at? Yeah. They just don't make a lot of sense for this route in particular. It's just kind of a weird route to choose to showcase. Look, tunnels. Do we have anything back there? It's kind of weird when you're in your flying mode. You almost gotta like move around like it's a helicopter. Oh, this is a log sawmill. I just thought about that. Is there not a dredge? I mean, I guess that would make a little bit of sense. There's not a lot of places that you would necessarily use a dredge here, but that's kind of interesting. Smelter, gold mine, stamp mill. Yeah, oh well. It's kind of a squirrel moment for me, but yeah, it's not a dredge out here. Anyway, where are we at? We're up here, so at the top edge of the map. There's a lot of open space that one can fill in with other industries if they so please to. But as you can see, like I was talking about earlier, this could definitely be an easy map for somebody to figure out how to lay track on and how to go about it. Like this right here, this is why, when you could just yoink. Is it fun? Yeah. Does it make sense? Nah. But there's really not a lot of wild ups and downs that you got to deal with. Yeah, of course, there's gradients to an extent. The map isn't perfectly flat, But on the other hand, it's not. It's a desert. There's not a whole lot going on. Freight Depot. What is cool with this map is you're going to start out with a Eureka 440 and 5 logging flats, which makes a lot of sense for this route. It's so flat, there's no reason to have a slow locomotive with the log cars. Now, the logging industry is kind of funny. You're in the desert. I don't know what you're logging out here in the desert. You logging cactus? I'll have to put my locomotives there in the shed now. Dang. Will I remember to? Probably not. But here's your starting freight depot. You'll start off with that Eureka down there. I attached it to some passenger cars and used it to explore around the route. So I figured out where there's a bunch of switch problems. Now we kind of come off into this weird little valley. And it goes from nothing to, oh look, there's a bunch of trees. So there's a logging camp over here. A locomotive shed over here. You know, okay, but wouldn't the trees be somewhere where there's water? Closer to the water? Again, it's a flat map. You can make things make a little more sense if you so please to. It's the fun of RO now is you can move all these industries, you can delete them, place a different one, place multiple of them to make a little more sense. If that's the boat you care to float. Like I said, I'm just using the pre-laid map because I don't do so hot with track laying. I don't feel like it. It takes me forever to do it. So, now that we have explored the majority of the map, is there really anything else for us to go over? Not really. I don't want to say it's not a big update, because on the one hand it was like 13 gigs or something like that. But on the other hand, there was a lot of stuff, like the bug fixes. Unless you were actively experiencing the bugs as you're like doing all this, it's not something that you're gonna notice right off the bat. It's something that you'll have to be playing for hours on end to really notice. And then of course we looked at the actual content that was added. We looked at the map, we looked at the 2 locomotives, and that's really about it. There's not much else to go over. Now again, there are the 2, by the way, there's the boat up close-ish, since our boat was way out there. It is pretty cool that the boat does come into dock and, you know, go through its processes there. I think that's neat, just kind of in and of itself, but yeah, it's not a bad update. It's a lot of stuff that to do a video on. There's not a lot to really go into. 2 locomotives on the map. We flew around the map, we looked at the 2 locomotives. What else is there to really say? Updates and bug fixes, which, hey, I love bug fixes. A group that focuses on actually fixing their game, making it run, getting rid of bugs. Cool beans. Still have switch problems though. That's just me. I know this game had a really rocky multiplayer a while ago. Whether or not that's fixed, again, I don't know. I don't play with people, so I'm kind of stuck solo. So yeah, that is it, guys. That is everything that I care to point to with the new update with 1.0 for Railroads Online, bells, buttons, and whistles that are worth checking out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you're still following along with Railroads Online, I know a lot of people fell off the boat. Yeah, I know. There's a boat. I had to go there. A lot of people dropped this game during all the drama and whatnot. Hopefully it kind of picks back up, though, because I still think it's a really neat train game idea. Again, I still see the comments about this, too. I don't know why people think this is a simulator. I don't know why they expect it to be a simulator, and then they play it, and they're surprised that it's not a locomotive simulator. It's not. And game's been out for almost 4 years. Yeah, so any notion that this is a locomotive simulator should have gone out the window a long time ago. But people are still surprised when they jump in and go, "Oh wow, it doesn't run like a train. This doesn't run like Train Sim Classic, where I hop in the cab of a single locomotive and I gotta deal with everything." No, these trains drive like arcade mode. But it's still a really cool concept. Great idea for friends to play with trains and not have to build a model railroad that costs thousands of dollars. So yeah, if you haven't checked this out, it is available on Steam. It's on sale right now for $25. There are DLCs for it. We'll go over those later. Thoughts, ideas, whatever. If you already own the game, haven't checked it out in a while, check it out. You might like all the changes and whatnot. It's still kind of rocky. I'm still playing around with the UI. I don't know if I like it or not. It's still got some weird bugs, like if I go into the map and then come back out, my view is stuck like I'm right clicking. And the same thing happens in the locomotive shop with the B key there. If I go to customize a locomotive and decide that's not what I want and I escape, it's stuck on the right click view where it's doing this whole like free look like this. That's a couple bugs I've noticed. They're not game breaking bugs. They're not, goodness gracious, whatever will I do kind of bugs. They're just kind of irritating flies. So definitely come back and check out the game, or if you don't own it, pick it up, check it out, see if you like it. But that is all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.